to reach the Empress before Corypheus. The only question is, how?
We know how. I have our way in. The real question is, where is our enemy hiding? At the urging of Grand Duchess Florian, the Empress is holding a ball. Absolutely everyone will be there. During the festivities, Céline will be meeting for peace talks with usurper Duke Gaspard and Ambassador Briala.
The assassin must be hiding within one of these factions.
What do we know about Duke Gaspard?
The man who would have been Emperor. He's Céline's cousin, and was first in line to inherit the throne when Emperor Florian died. Céline outmaneuvered him. She won over the Council of Heralds who hold authority over title disputes. She became Empress, and he a general in the Imperial Army. He's well loved by the troops. He's also a Chevalier. Most of their number sided with him when he turned on the Empress.
Aren't the Chevaliers part of the army? Why would they follow the Duke?
Most Chevaliers are sworn to serve the crown, but that does not give them faith in the person wearing it. The Empress has tried to improve relations with Ferelden and Navarra. The Chevaliers see her as anti-military. They believe Gaspard could lead the Empire back to the glory of Draken's expansion years.
Who is this Ambassador Briala?
An ambassador in name only. She has organized the elves of Halam Shiral into an underground army. The Empress invited her to the peace talks in a bid to gain the elves' alliance in the war. That would be scandal enough, without the rumor that Briala is a jilted lover of Celine's. A personal grudge and a network of saboteurs at her command. Promising lead.
Wait, the elven leader is a jilted lover of the Empress.
It's not widely known. Just a rumor whispered among the palace servants a few years ago. If it's true and were to get out, the Empress and an elf. The scandal could destroy Celine's court. Even if a lie, Briala could use it to blackmail the Empress. She has some connection to the throne.
Tell me everything we know about the Empress.
Empress Céline is a renowned diplomat and reformer. She works tirelessly to secure peace for the Empire. Unfortunately, many Orlesians view peace as complacency. She has yet to name an heir, leaving the future of the Empire in doubt if anything happens to her. Especially when the next in line is her cousin Gaspard, who's made few friends on the Council of Heralds.
Céline is surrounded at all times by countless guards, courtiers, servants, and vassals. What better place for an assassin to hide than the Empress's own household?
How can Gaspard still be next in line while he wages war against his Empress?
The title Grand Duke indicates that he was a prince before the Empress took the throne.
Do we need to go to the peace talks? The Empress must have personal guards. We could just warn her she's in danger.
We've made the attempt, but...
It seems that our messages never reached her. Someone intercepted them.
It's better that we don't leave this to chance. If Orlais falls to Corypheus, no land is safe.
We shouldn't waste any time. Let's go to the Winter Palace.
The political situation in Halam Shiral hangs by a thread. The Empress fears our presence could sever it. The Grand Duke is only too happy to have us at the ball as his guests, so our invitation comes from him. Whether we act as his allies or upset the balance of power, he gains an opportunity, if not a clear advantage.
Inquisitor Trevelyan, it is an honor to meet you at last. The rumors coming out of the Western Approach say you battled an army of demons. Imagine what the Inquisition could accomplish with the full support of the rightful Emperor of Orlais.
I can see many benefits to such an alliance.
Keep the image firmly in mind. We may see it materialize by the end of the evening. I am not a man who forgets his friends, Inquisitor. You help me, I'll help you. My lady, are you prepared to shock the court by walking into the Grand Ball with a hateful usurper? They will be telling stories of this into the next age.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Duke Gaspard. I look forward to ending this civil war.
As do I, my friend. The Empire needs stability and security, now more than ever. If you have the safety of the Orlesian people at heart, Inquisitor, perhaps you will look into something for me. This elven woman, Briala, I suspect that she intends to disrupt the negotiations. My people have found these ambassadors all over the fortifications. Sabotage seems the least of their crimes.
That sounds like something I should look into.
Be as discreet as possible. I detest the game, but if we do not play it well, our enemies will make us look like villains. We're keeping the court waiting, Inquisitor. Shall we?
Is that the Inquisitor?
A mage? No, there must be some mistake.
From the Circle of Ostwick, so they say.
Pardon me, my lady. Have you seen a ring anywhere? It was a gift from the Countess Montbelliard, enchanted by the Fomari. I cannot go into the ball without it.
Is this ring particularly valuable?
Its worth in coin is not as important as its social value. It was a gift from a member of the Council of Heralds. If she finds out I lost it, she will never forgive me. Not even if I live to be 1,000 years old.
That's a terrible predicament.
If the Countess finds out, make her have mercy. Should you happen upon it, I beg you, let me know. Maker, what am I going to do if I cannot find my ring?
Is this the ring you are looking for?
You are a treasure! I cannot believe you found it. You have saved me a lifetime of mortification. How can I thank you enough?
Inquisitor, a moment, if you please. I must warn you before you go inside. How you speak to the court is a matter of life and death. It is no simple matter of etiquette and protocol. Every word, every gesture is measured and evaluated for weakness.
I'll keep my guard up. Don't worry.
The game is like wicked grace played to the death. You must never reveal your cards. When you meet the Empress, the eyes of the entire court will be upon you. You are safer in the Fade with the Fear Demon.
It might be a good idea for the others to hear this warning. The bull in particular.
I'll have a few discreet words. Everything will be fine. Andraste, watch over us all.
And now presenting Grand Duke Gaspard de Chalon, and accompanying him, Lady Inquisitor Trevelyan of the Ostwick Circle of Magi. Shepherd and leash of the wayward Order of Templars, purger of the heretics from the ranks of the faithful.
This guy writes better fiction than I do.
Champion of the blessed Andraste herself.
Did you see their faces? Priceless.
Accompanying the Inquisitor, renowned author Tharic Dethras. Head of noble house Dethras, Desher of Kirkwall to the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Lord Dorian Pavus, member of the Circle of Arantium, son of Lord Magister Hallward Pavus of Azariel. The Iron Bull, leader of the famed mercenary company Bull's Chargers, as the name might imply. Sir Callan Stanton Rutherford of Honleith, commander of the forces of the Inquisition, former Knight Commander of Kirkwall. Lady Liliana, Nightingale of the Imperial Court, veteran of the Fifth Blight, Seneschal of the Inquisition, and Left Hand of the Divine. And Lady Josephine Charette Montillier of Antiva City, Ambassador of the Inquisition.
Cousin, my dear sister.
Grand Duke, we are always honored when your presence graces our court.
Don't waste my time with pleasantries, Celine. We have business to conclude.
We will meet for the negotiations after we have seen to our other guests.
Inquisitor?
Lady Inquisitor, we welcome you to the Winter Palace. Allow us to present our cousin, the Grand Duchess of Leeds, without whom this gathering would never have been possible.
What an unexpected pleasure. I was not aware the Inquisition would be part of our festivities. We will certainly speak later, Inquisitor.
Your arrival at court is like a cool wind on a summer's day.
I am delighted to be here, Your Majesty.
We have heard much of your exploits, Inquisitor. They have made grand tales for long evenings. How do you find Halam Shiral?
I've never seen anything to equal the Winter Palace.
We hope you will find time to take in some of its beauties. Feel free to enjoy the pleasures of the ballroom, Inquisitor. We look forward to watching you dance.
Inquisitor, a word when you have a moment.
Josephine! Oh, Josephine! Is this her?
Inquisitor, please allow me to present to you my younger sister, Yvette Gabriella Montillier.
Delighted to meet you, Lady Montillier.
Inquisitor, I've heard so much about you, but not as much as I want. Josephine writes, but she never tells me anything. Is it true you found the Red Templars sacrificing heretics and drinking blood from mages' veins?
Yvette!
Everyone in Antiva City is saying so. Is it true?
There was dark magic there, yes. But none of it so... visceral.
Oh, did you check everywhere?
That's quite enough, Yvette. Really.
This may be my only chance to hear about when Josephine was a girl.
Oh yes, as she told you about when she was 10 and...
Yvette.
Stop. Fine. What about when we were climbing the cliffs by the...
No.
She once told the Duke of...
Absolutely not.
She still plays with her doll collection when no one's looking.
Yvette! That's absurd. Absolutely preposterous.
Tell me about yourself, Lady Yvette. This is the first time I've encountered any of Josephine's family.
She would forget to mention the artists. I've been studying painting under Antiva's royal tutors. You should be proud, Josie. I'm going to be exhibiting my work next season in the city's biggest salon.
Have you actually sat down and finished the painting yet?
I must wait for my inspiration.
And I must wait for your tutor's bills.
Enjoying the ball?
I see many of...
The dancing is so dull, Your Worship. But the Empress's gallery is magnificent.
Yvette.
Sorry, Josie.
Go on, Josephine.
Half Royal must be empty. So many of the Empire's finest are in attendance. They've noticed the Empress paying you special attention, but they don't quite know how to take advantage of it yet. This uncertainty won't last long, I'm afraid.
Which power should the Inquisition throw its weight behind?
Celine has held the throne successfully for years. I see no profit in ousting her. Gaspard has run military campaigns, but never a kingdom. His transition would be, let us say, chaotic.
I'll see you later.
Another time.
Are you married, Commander?
Not yet, but I am already taken.
Still single, then?
Inquisitor, did you need something? The sooner we track down this infiltrator, the better.
You've attracted a following. Who are all these people?
I don't know, but they won't leave me alone.
Not enjoying the attention, then?
Hardly. Anyway, yours... yours is the only attention worth having.
Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary?
I'll let you know at once if I do.
Do you have any advice?
Orlesian social events don't fall within my area of expertise. There are a few here we can trust. Be careful.
Who do you think the Inquisition should support?
Gaspard's claim to the throne is fair. Orlais needs someone capable of responding to the crisis at hand. A military-minded leader seems the best option.
I don't suppose you'd save a dance for me?
No, thank you.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean to make us breath. I've answered that question so many times, I'm rejecting it automatically. I'm not one for dancing. The Templars never attended balls.
We'll talk later.
I await your signal.
Good. I was hoping I would catch you. What did the Duke say?
He points the finger at Ambassador Briala.
The Ambassador is up to something, but she can't be our focus. The best place to strike at Celine is from her side. Empress Celine is fascinated by mysticism, foreseeing the future, speaking with the dead, that sort of rubbish. She has an occult advisor, an apostate who charmed the Empress and key members of the court as if by magic. I've had dealings with her in the past. She is ruthless and capable of anything.
How can Celine openly keep an apostate in the Imperial Court?
The Imperial Court has always had an official position for a mage. Before now, it was little better than court jester. Vivian was the first to turn that appointment into a source of real political power. When the circles rebelled, technically every mage became an apostate. The word lost much of its strength.
That sounds exactly like the person we're looking for.
She's worth investigating. Can't be sure of anything here. Both leads point toward the guest wing. It's a promising place to start. I'll coordinate with our spies to see if I can find anything better. I will be in the ballroom if you need me.
Philippe should have returned hours ago, dallying with some serving girl while I deal with Gaspard's vitriol.
Awfully selfish of this filly, running off to play and leaving you with all the work.
I've half a mind to inform the Dowager. That would teach him to shirk his duties to roll some elven maid. Tonight of all nights, leaving me to convey Gaspard's death threats to the Council. Wonderful timing, Philippe. Thank you for listening to me rant. You are too kind, Inquisitor.
Well, well, the Inquisitor. Here as a guest of my nephew, no less. I'm curious.
I didn't know the Grand Duke was your nephew.
He's my brother's eldest boy. Always a difficult child, Gaspard. Never listened, never did what he was told. He was raised a prince. All his life we told him he would be emperor. It was his destiny, his duty. What else should he do with his life, if not fight for his destiny?
Have you noticed anything strange this evening?
My niece Floriane hasn't spoken to me all evening. That's not like her.
What can you tell me about the Civil War?
If you are hoping for insight, you've come to the wrong man. It's war. It is brutal, and terrible, and sometimes necessary. There's nothing more to say.
Another time, my lord. Well, well. What's this?
You got anything that needs killing?
Because the nobles keep messing with me and they think I don't know they're doing it. This keeps up. I'm gonna wear somebody's skull as my fancy little mask.
What do you think of the masks the nobles are wearing?
They're no good as disguises, and they don't cover the mouth or hide body language, so they're not much help for lying. As fashion goes, I don't know. I've seen dumber.
Look at this with the eyes of a Ben Hasrath and tell me what you see.
It's a mess. Everyone's trying so hard to hide that they're walking around in plumage. Makes it tough to spot the dangerous lies, as opposed to the normal stuff. Oh, but that couple over there with the silver masks? The woman's doing one of the nobles, and the guy's doing two different servants.
Anything catching your eye?
They've got these candied nuts with some kind of spice on them. It's sweet until you swallow, and then bam! Hot. Also, Orlais has some fine-looking redheads. I go more for the servants personally. Less makeup. Nothing on the assassins, though.
Talk to you later, Bull.
I'll just stay here and eat.
My lady! My lady Inquisitor!
May we have a word? It is very important.
The Empress has sent us with a message for you.
How can I be certain this message is from the Empress?
We three wear the masks of House Valmont.
They signify that we are public faces of the Empress.
They are also extremely fashionable.
I'm always honored to hear from Her Majesty.
Oh, she is the honored one, Inquisitor.
Empress Celine is eager to assist the Herald of Andraste in her holy endeavor.
She will pledge her full support to the Inquisition as soon as the usurper Gaspard is defeated.
That's a generous offer.
The Empress believes wholeheartedly that the Inquisition is our best hope for peace in these difficult times.
She looks forward to cementing a formal alliance.
As soon as Gaspard is out of the way.
But we have taken enough of your time.
Please, enjoy the masquerade, Inquisitor.
This is all so familiar. I half expect my mother to materialize from the crowd and criticize my manners.
Is this how the elite of Tevinter carry on?
You could almost mistake this for a soiree in the Imperium. The same double-dealing, elegant poison canapes. It's lacking only a few sacrificial slaves and some blood magic. But the night is still young.
What if your mother were actually here? Where'd we be then?
Short one mage after he's dragged out by his earlobe.
I'm having difficulty picturing that.
Picture me a young boy of 5 years then. She certainly always has.
Have you seen anything I should know about?
I'm trying to keep watch for magic. You know Tevinters. We can't cross a room without casting a spell. If there are Tevinter agents here, we'll find them.
I appreciate that you were willing to come here.
And expose myself to all this exquisite finery and exotic wines? Such hardship.
Not everyone's likely to be friendly. That's all I meant.
It's true. You'd think I smelled of cabbages the way they wrinkle their noses. It's of no concern, but thank you.
Inquisitor.
If I heard correctly, you'd like to stop the rebel mages. We share a common goal.
We have had enough of the pyres and the raids and the constant threat of violence. My steward will contact your ambassador. I have skilled people who could be put to great use.
Gentlemen.
Inquisitor, are you enjoying the ball? This is your first presentation at court, is it not? I am Lady Marcelette, court historian to Her Imperial Majesty.
What exactly does a court historian do?
I am responsible for the historical records of the court. I maintain our library and record all official proceedings.
Are you here to chronicle the events of the evening for posterity?
Oh, yes! This is a momentous occasion. The first meeting between the Grand Duke and Her Majesty since the war began. Even if, Maker forbid, the talks should fail. It is an important moment in the history of the Empire.
Good evening, Lady Marcelette.
Another time, perhaps.
Well, well. What have we here? The leader of the new Inquisition, fabled herald of the faith. Delivered from the grasp of the Fade by the hand of blessed Andraste herself. What could bring such an exalted creature here to the Imperial Court, I wonder? Do even you know?
I'm here on important business concerning the entire Empire.
As am I, it seems. I am Morrigan. Some call me advisor to Empress Celine on matters of the arcane. You have been very busy this evening, hunting in every dark corner of the palace. Perhaps you and I hunt the same prey.
I hope so. I could use another ally here.
A sentiment I share, considering recent events.
Recent events?
Recently I found and killed an unwelcome guest within these very halls. An agent of Tevinter. So I offer you this, Inquisitor. A key found on the Tevinter's body. Where it leads, I cannot say. Yet, if Celine is in danger, I cannot leave her side long enough to search. You can.
You left Celine alone. Is that wise?
I must return to her anon, but she is safe enough, for the moment. 'Twould be a great fool who strikes at her in public in front of all her court and the Imperial Guard.
What's your interest in protecting Empress Celine? Are you her bodyguard?
Do I seem a bodyguard to you? If anything were to happen to Celine, eyes would turn first to her occult advisor, even if they knew otherwise. There are sharks in the water, and I will not fall prey to them. Not now, not ever.
Why did you kill the agent? He might have had useful information.
I would not have slain the man on sight had he not attacked me first. Why? Undoubtedly, I caught him in an illicit act. I did not know from whence he came until after the battle, and regret only that I could not capture him alive. What intentions the Imperium has here, I suspect you know far better than I.
Briala's people are whispering about disappearances in the servants' quarters. This key may lead there.
The ambassador does have eyes and ears everywhere, does she not? Proceed with caution, Inquisitor. Enemies abound, and not all of them aligned with Tevinter. What comes next will be most exciting.
Look at Lady Cambion's slippers, trimmed with pearls and emeralds. And those buckles. Toss her into the lake and she'll sink right to the bottom. What a disaster.
There's a Tevinter assassin on the loose and you're concerned about buckles on shoes.
Everyone needs a hobby. Besides, you can learn a great deal about a person from their clothing. Gold and jewels on a dancing slipper. A slipper is easily lost and finds itself in the dust and dirt. She is unconcerned with the possibility of losing the shoe or soiling it. A vulgar display of wealth. But Lady Cambion's family has recently lost most of its holdings. They have their title, but little else. So, how did Cambion acquire such a grand shoe, What has she done? Who has she bedded? These are all useful questions, no?
You're different here than in Skyhold. More approachable, perhaps.
This is Halam Shiral, Inquisitor. This is the Imperial Court. This is the beating heart of the Great Game. Of course, everyone is wearing a mask. I learned this very young. I was still a girl when I attended my first ball. All this, the smiles, the small talk, it is a dance. And like any dance, it can be learned. For some of us, it has become so familiar that the steps may be performed in our sleep.
Who do you think the Inquisition should support?
What we need most of all is a stable Ole. Either Celine or Gaspard can give us that.
I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
Very interesting. It may not help our investigation, but we can put it to use. A little more dirt like this, and we might have some leverage in the court. If you find more, let me know.
Have you seen anything interesting?
Oh yes. Halam Shiral is lousy, with scandals and scheming. But no sign of a Tevinter infiltrator, I'm afraid.
I should go. Be on your guard.
I always am.
Inquisitor, to what do we owe this honor?
We are always delighted to speak with you, of course.
Her Imperial Majesty is unfortunately occupied at present.
I'd like to know more about the negotiations. It seems strange to hold peace talks during a ball.
Nobility must do things very differently in Ostwick.
By Orlesian tradition, moments of great solemnity are celebrated with revels and feasts.
While joyous occasions are given time for reflection and contemplation.
We must never forget that life is both bitter and sweet.
The ball is an opportunity to celebrate life and hope for the future, while we mourn those killed in the war.
What is the Empress trying to accomplish with the negotiations?
Peace is her only objective, Inquisitor.
Gaspard and Briala are driven by personal ambitions, but those desires threaten the safety of all Orlesians.
The war must end tonight. We must conclude this to deal with the larger crisis.
What can you tell me about the other parties involved in the talks?
Gaspard is a decorated general, much beloved by the Imperial Army, and a legend among chevaliers.
He is better suited to the battlefield than the throne, and he would gladly make his palace a war camp.
He's also fiendishly charming.
Lady Briala has great intentions to change the lives of the elves for the better.
Even if her plans could never work and would only provoke hate crimes against alienages.
She is an idealist, but her lack of patience would prove disastrous.
If the evening ends favorably for the Empress, how does the Inquisition benefit?
Her Imperial Majesty brings the might of the Orlesian Empire with her friendship.
She is also a respected diplomat and world leader. She can forge alliances for you with Rivain, Antiva, the Underfels.
And she throws the best parties.
My investigations turned up something interesting. It concerns the Grand Duke. He's made a lot of threats to the Council of Heralds.
The Grand Duke is all talk, Inquisitor.
Very loud talk, accompanied by swords.
He has never had any skill at the game.
My investigations turned up something interesting. It concerns Ambassador Briala. She killed ambassadors from both Celine and Gaspard and forged documents to both sides.
How despicable!
After the Empress extended her hospitality?
She's better at the game than we thought.
Her people have infiltrated every part of the Winter Palace.
This is extremely alarming, Inquisitor.
She could be spying on our every word.
How exciting!
Perhaps you could tell me something then. I'd like to know more about Empress Celine.
Her Majesty has held the throne since she was just 16 years old.
She is respected and beloved, not just in Orlais, but across Thedas.
She doesn't care much for liver, and she drinks her tea black.
We haven't been properly introduced.
How rude of us to forget.
Milady Inquisitor, may I present Lady Couteau?
And Lady Colombe.
And of course, Lady Fleur. We are the Empress's ladies-in-waiting.
Good evening.
Until next time, Inquisitor.
Do take care.
Enjoy the masquerade.
Inquisitor Trevelyan. Slumming even more than usual, I see. You've charmed some of the nobles. We'll see how long you can keep their favor. What brings you to me?
I want to know more about the peace talks. What can you tell me about Celine and Gaspard?
Gaspard is a warmonger. He served in the war against Ferelden and fought a dozen skirmishes on the Navarran border. He's a simple man. Simple men aren't hard to manipulate. Celine is the voice of reason in the Empire. But reason is cautious. Reason looks for compromise. Reason doesn't choose radical change, however sorely it may be needed.
I had a question about you, Briala.
I'm an elf, Inquisitor. That should tell you everything you need to know about my life. I'm good at what I do. And so that matters. I will help my people no matter the cost.
What's your story? How is an elf invited to the Empress's ball as an ambassador?
Empress Celine and I have history. There was a time when I put my spies at her disposal. She knows my qualifications. We had a falling out. Now we are negotiating to determine whether I return to her side in the war.
What do you mean, we had a falling out?
She betrayed me. Turned me over to the guards on a trumped-up charge to save her political reputation. It wasn't personal. It's the game. That's how all Orlesians justify these things to themselves. It wouldn't do to let the court know she had an elven friend.
If she doesn't win you back to her side, what do you intend to do?
I have contingency plans. I'm not a child putting all my hopes on a single ball. This evening gives me access to Duke Gaspard. He's challenging. Not as progressive or persuadable as his cousin. But with time and sufficient blackmail, he might work with us.
I'm surprised you'd admit that, considering the circumstances.
I know it's incriminating. Few harbor more resentment against Celine than I. But if she died after inviting me here, the court would certainly pin her death on me. An elf assassinating the Empress? Alienages across Orlais, across all Thedas, would be purged. That cannot happen.
I've been told you were romantically involved with the Empress.
I didn't take you for a gossip monger, Inquisitor. I suppose your spies have already briefed you, so there's no point in pretending. Yes, Celine and I were lovers once, but we've gone our separate ways now.
You might be interested in what I've found. It's about Gaspard. He's been threatening the nobles on the Council of Heralds.
Typical. Gaspard's always been a bully, regardless of the Chevalier Code.
You might be interested in what I've found. It's about you, actually. You murdered negotiators and stole their documents.
In Orlesian politics, Inquisitor, murder and intrigue barely count as trying. If that shocked you, wait until Celine shows her hand.
I found the drop point, Briala. I know your people are hidden all over the palace.
Of course they are. I'd be a poor spy master if I didn't have spies, Inquisitor.
We'll speak more later, Ambassador.
Another time, Inquisitor.
My friend, come in, have a drink. What can I do for you? You've been busily charming the court, I see.
I have a question about the peace talks. What are you hoping to achieve at the negotiations?
I intend to take back what is rightfully mine. Celine stole the crown through politicking, but I am the rightful emperor of Orlais. The Empire has been mired in intrigue for too long. We need a clear course of action.
What action did you have in mind?
The Empire is declining. We cannot allow Nevarra and Ferelden to chip away our borders. I will see Orlais return to glory as the strongest nation in Thedas.
You say you hate politics, but you're here to negotiate.
I can play the game when I must. If I couldn't, I'd be dead by now, Inquisitor. But it is not my choice. Celine has my sister involved in this mess. I would prefer to settle this on the battlefield. But for Florian, I will sit and talk.
What will be going on in these negotiations?
We will whittle one another down with words until we are bored into agreement. Celine will talk circles around us, that elf will glower and cast suspicion everywhere, and I will get very drunk. Somehow, by the time they stop serving drinks, our war will be ended. Politics, my friend.
I get the distinct impression that you don't enjoy politics, Duke Gaspard.
In Orlais, they call it the Great Game. They believe it is something you can play and win. But there are no winners. Like dogs playing wicked grace, it is a mockery of action. Give me a battlefield, Inquisitor. I will show you who the victors are. When I am Emperor, there will be changes. No more of this courtier's nonsense. The nobles may not like it, but after a few lose their heads, they'll fall in line.
What can you tell me about Celine and Briala?
Briala may be called ambassador, but she is purely a spy. She works towards some hidden agenda. Elves have no place in politics. Her presence here is suspicious. Celine is a skilled player in the game. She knows how to get her way with a few words and a smile. But the game is a farce. I will prove that a few hundred chevaliers are better than diplomacy.
You didn't extend this invitation out of the goodness of your heart, Grand Duke.
As you might have guessed, I'm not the most political man. If the nobles believe the Inquisition supports me, it will help in negotiations. And I take joy in watching the scandalized expressions when they see us together.
I'd like to know more about you.
All of Orlais knows my story. But you, my friend, are far too sensible to be Orlesian. The heart of it is simple. I am the rightful heir to the throne of Orlais. But my cousin, Celine, is a politician, while I am a man of action. She charmed the Council of Heralds. They gave the crown to her, and while it looks fetching on her, I intend to take it back.
What's your claim to the throne?
The 100 Days Cough swept Valroya in 877. It killed thousands of children, royalty and commoner alike. There are only 3 living grandchildren of Emperor Judicael I. Myself, my sister Florian, and Celine. And I am the eldest. By rights, the crown should have passed to me.
If you're the rightful heir, how did Celine become Empress?
I am the oldest, but I lack the Valmont name. My mother was the late Emperor's sister. Celine is a Valmont. Her honored father was my mother's brother. But she is the youngest. When there is any doubt surrounding the line of succession, the matter falls to the Council of Heralds. Celine outplayed me, forming alliances on the Council for support. So they passed over me in her favor.
So you intend to out-negotiate your cousin?
It will take heroic effort on my part, Inquisitor, and a lot of brandy. The talks will take most of the evening. Make her willing, we will emerge triumphant.
I discovered something you might be interested in. It's about Briala. She's got people hidden among the servants all over the palace.
I suspected as much, but couldn't confirm it. She's a difficult adversary to predict. There's no telling what move she intends to make.
She's killed ambassadors and changed their documents.
You can prove this. Now that is interesting. What is she trying to accomplish? She bears closer watching than I thought.
I discovered something you might be interested in. It's about you, in fact. Want to tell me why you were threatening the members of the Council of Heralds?
The language of politics, Inquisitor. If you cannot bribe politicians, you threaten them into backing down. Most of the Council are Celine's lapdogs. There was little chance I could win their support any other way.
We'll speak later, Duke Gaspard.
Another time, friend.
You are an interesting one. You have quite the silver tongue, Inquisitor. I do hope you put it to good use.
Have you noticed anything odd this evening?
Too few Imperial guards stand in attendance, my dear. A shame. They are so pleasantly decorative.
I'd like your opinion of this gathering, milady.
It's doomed to fail, of course. Celine knows that. At least it should be amusing. We haven't had such a menagerie at court in living memory.
Would you care to dance, Lady Mantillon?
You, Inquisitor, are a delight. One does not often find foreigners so well versed in the game. But you have other dances to perform first. Perhaps you will save me a dance for later?
Good evening, milady. This was no servant. What was he doing here?
Does this guy seem out of place to anyone else?
Is that the Chalon family crest? What have you been up to, Gaspard?
Time to have a word with the Duke.
No! No!
Fancy meeting you here. Shouldn't you be dancing, Inquisitor? What will the nobility say?
Ambassador, we meet again.
Your reputation for getting results is well deserved. You cleaned this place out. Will take a month to get all the Tevinter blood off the marble. I came down to save or avenge my missing people. But you've beaten me to it. So, the Council of Heralds' emissary in the courtyard. That's not your work, is it?
If I did kill him, what would you do?
Well, I wouldn't believe you, for one. You may have arrived with the Grand Duke, but you don't seem to be doing his dirty work. I knew he was smuggling his chevaliers. But killing a council emissary? Bringing Tevinter assassins into the palace? Those are desperate acts. Gaspard must be planning to strike tonight.
The Empress needs to know what's going on.
You can try to warn her. She won't believe anything from me. I misjudged you, Inquisitor. You might just be an ally worth having. What could you do with an army of elven spies at your disposal? You should think about it.
I would consider such an alliance.
We can help each other, Inquisitor. We are both outsiders here, after all. I know which way the wind is blowing. I'd bet coin that you'll be part of the peace talks before the night is over. And if you happen to lean a little bit our way, it could prove advantageous to us both. Just a thought.
Every single major player has tried to bribe you tonight. In Orlais, that means you've officially arrived.
There's so much conniving and backstabbing here. Makes me homesick.
Is it true what they say? You're the Inquisitor, are you not? We heard stories of your accomplishments.
Some of those might have gone a bit far.
I told you, Philippe.
Not everyone fights an archdemon and lives to tell. It's an inspiration.
I'm curious. What did you hear about the fight with the Archdemon?
They say the army of the Inquisition fought a desperate stand at Haven against the forces of a Nord god. As the battle raged, you faced down evil incarnate. Spell against spell. Its forces had you trapped. And you cast down a mountain upon the Archdemon and escaped.
Even if a tenth of that is true, it's a remarkable feat.
If you'd like, Commander Cullen could give you all the details of that battle. He's in the ballroom.
Really? But I shouldn't leave my post.
You'd only be gone a moment.
Philippe, the world is coming to an end. If we don't hear this story now, we'll never have a chance.
You're right. Thank you, Inquisitor. Let's go.
Inquisitor Trevelyan. We met briefly. I am Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon. Welcome to my party.
Is there something I can do for you, Your Grace?
Indeed you can. I believe tonight you and I are both concerned by the actions of a certain person. Come, dance with me. Spies will not hear us on the dance floor.
Very well. Shall we dance, Your Grace?
I'd be delighted. You are from the Free Marches, are you not? How much do you know about our little war?
I assure you the effects of this war reach far beyond the borders of the Orlesian Empire.
Perhaps it does. I should not be surprised to find the Empire is the center of everyone's world.
It took great effort to arrange tonight's negotiations. Yet one party would use this occasion for blackest treason. The security of the Empire is at stake. Neither one of us wishes to see it fall.
I think I can agree with that, yes.
Then you have lifted a terrible burden from my heart, Inquisitor. The world is filled with doubt and uncertainty. Fear rules more hearts than any empire. I know you arrived here as a guest of my brother Gaspard, and have been everywhere in the palace. You are a curiosity to many, Inquisitor, and a matter of concern to some.
There's no need for concern. I've come here to help Orlais.
Helping Orlais has a variety of meanings depending on whom you ask. Kindness to some is cruelty to others. You cannot be a savior to them all. To some, you must be a monster. Do you even yet know who is friend and who is foe? Who in the court can be trusted?
If I've learned anything, Your Grace, it is to put my trust in no one.
In the Winter Palace, everyone is alone. It cannot have escaped your notice that certain parties are engaged in dangerous machinations tonight.
I have seen a few signs to that effect.
You have little time. The attack will come soon. You must stop Gaspard before he strikes. In the Royal Wing Garden, you will find the captain of my brother's mercenaries. He knows all Gaspard's secrets. I'm sure you can persuade him to be forthcoming.
We'll see what the night has in store, won't we?